Welcome to Real English Voices. I am Tom.
And I am Ria. Hello, everyone. We are so happy to have you here with us today.
We really are. You know, Ria, today we're tackling the biggest question of them all. It is the question every single student asks us eventually. It is the dream, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is the holy grail of language learning. Today, we are talking about fluency. How to actually speak English fluently, naturally, and without that panic we all feel sometimes.
Exactly. That panic is real. I think we need to start there. Before we talk about techniques or vocabulary or grammar rules, we have to talk about the feeling of speaking. Because for so many people, speaking English feels like a test they are failing in real time.
That is such a good way to put it, Tom. It feels like a test. I remember when I was learning my second language, every time I opened my mouth, I felt like the person listening to me was a judge. I felt like they were counting my mistakes, grading my grammar, and secretly laughing at my accent. It was terrifying.
And that fear paralyzes you, doesn't it? It stops the flow. And that is the irony of it. To speak fluently, you have to let go. But because you want to be perfect, you hold on tight. You overthink every word. And then you stumble.
You freeze. It is the worst feeling. So let's break the first myth right now, okay? Let's just destroy this idea of perfection. Tom, do you speak English perfectly every single second of the day?
No way! Absolutely not. I make mistakes all the time. I stumble over my words. I forget the name of things. Just yesterday, I was trying to describe a kitchen tool, a spatula, and I completely blanked. I said, the flipping thing for the pancakes.
The flipping thing. See, that is exactly it. Even native speakers or highly fluent speakers describe things when they forget words. We make grammar slips. We restart sentences. But here's the key difference. We do not panic when it happens. We just keep going.
That is the definition of fluency for me. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is the ability to keep the conversation moving. It's like water flowing down a river. If there's a rock in the way, the water flows around it. It does not stop. If you forget a word or use the wrong tense, you just correct yourself or move on. That is flow.
I love that image of the river. So if you're listening to this right now, I want you to take a deep breath. Seriously, breathe in. Let go of the idea that you need to sound like a textbook. You do not. You need to sound like a human being, and human beings are messy and imperfect.
So true. Okay, so once we accept that mistakes are okay, how do we actually get the words to come out faster? How do we stop translating in our heads? Because that's the biggest block, isn't it? The translation delay.
Oh, the translation trap. You hear the sentence in English, you translate it to your native language to understand it, you think of your response in your native language, and then you try to translate that back into English. It is exhausting just talking about it.
It is exhausting, and it's too slow. Real conversation happens in milliseconds. You cannot do that math fast enough. So we have to bridge the gap. We have to start thinking in English. I know, everyone says that. Think in English, but how, Ria? How does a beginner actually do that?
It starts small. You can't just wake up and debate philosophy and English in your head. You start with the things around you. When I was learning, I would narrate my day, literally talk to myself like a crazy person. I would wake up and think, okay, I'm brushing my teeth. The water is cold. Where is my towel?
Yes, narrating your life. It sounds so simple, but it's powerful because you're connecting the object and the action directly to the English word. You're cutting out the middleman. You aren't thinking of the word for towel in your language and then translating. You see the towel and you say towel.
Exactly. And you can do this anywhere. When you're driving, look at the road. Say red light, green car, turning left. Keep it simple. What you're doing is building a reflex. You are training your brain to reach for the English word first.
And no one has to hear you. That's the beauty of it. You can do this in your head or whisper it. It's low-pressure practice. But let's talk about input, because you cannot output what you have not input. You need to fill the tank before you can drive the car.
This is huge. I think a lot of students spend too much time studying rules and not enough time actually absorbing the language. They know the formula for the present perfect tense, but they've never heard it used naturally in a funny story or a sad movie.
Right, it becomes math, not language. You need to surround yourself with English. And I don't mean boring textbooks. I mean stuff you actually like. This is critical. If you hate politics, don't listen to political news in English just to learn. You'll be bored and you'll quit.
Please do not torture yourself. If you love cooking, watch cooking shows. If you love football, watch the commentary in English. If you love romance novels, read them. When you care about the content, the language comes in through the back door. You are so focused on the story or the recipe that you forget you are studying. That is when the magic happens.
I call that the immersion bubble. You might not live in New York or London, but you can create an English world right in your bedroom. Change your phone settings to English. Watch YouTube in English. Listen to podcasts like this one. The more your brain hears the rhythm of the language, the more it will try to copy it.
Speaking of copying, can we talk about shadowing? Because that changed my life.
Oh, shadowing is the secret weapon. Explain how it works for our listeners who might not know.
Okay, so shadowing is basically imitation. You listen to a native speaker, maybe on a podcast or a YouTube video, and you repeat exactly what they say, almost at the same time. You try to match their speed, their emotion, their pauses, everything. You become a shadow of their voice.
It feels weird at first, doesn't it? You feel like a parrot.
It feels totally ridiculous. You are sitting there mimicking someone else's voice. But here is why it works. English has music. It has a rhythm. We go up and down. We stress certain words and swallow others. Textbooks don't teach you that music. Only listening and copying can teach you that.
That is such a good point. We do swallow words. We don't say, I am going to go to the store. We say, I'm going to go to the store. If you try to pronounce every single letter perfectly, you sound like a robot. Shadowing helps you feel how words blend together.
It creates muscle memory. Your mouth actually learns how to move in English because the muscles we use for English are different from the muscles you use for your native language. You have to train your tongue to go to the right places without thinking.
Let's touch on something a bit deeper now. We talked about fear earlier, but I want to talk about identity. I think some people hold back because they feel like they are losing themselves when they speak English. They feel fake.
That is a very deep observation, Tom. I have felt that. When you can't express your personality, you feel small. In my own language, I'm funny. I can make jokes. I can be sarcastic. But in the beginning, in English, I felt like a child. I could only say simple things. The cat is on the table. It is frustrating to be an intelligent adult but sound like a toddler.
It is incredibly frustrating, but I think you have to reframe it. You aren't losing your identity. You're building a new layer of it. You're developing your English self. And your English self might be a little different. Maybe your English self is a bit more direct, or a bit more polite, or just different. And that is okay.
I actually love my English self now. She's a bit more confident in some ways. She takes more risks, but it took time to find her. So to everyone listening, please be patient with yourself. You are growing a new version of you. It takes time. Do not beat yourself up because you aren't funny or witty yet. It will come.
And consistency is key, right? You cannot go to the gym for 9 hours on Sunday and then do nothing for the rest of the month and expect to get muscles.
No, you will just get sore. Language is exactly the same. It is better to do 15 minutes every single day than 5 hours once a week. Your brain needs that constant reminder. It needs to know that English is important, that it is part of your daily survival.
So let's recap a little bit. We have the mindset shift, letting go of perfection. We have the narration technique, talking to yourself about your day. We have the immersion, consuming content you actually enjoy. And we have shadowing, mimicking the music of the language.
There is one more thing I want to add, Tom. It's about the people you talk to.
Go on.
Find a safe space. If you are terrified of speaking, do not start by giving a presentation to your boss. Find a friend who is also learning. Find a tutor who is kind. Talk to yourself in the mirror. You need to build up your confidence in a low-stakes environment before you jump into the high-pressure situations.
That is vital. You need wins, small wins. You need to have a conversation where you walk away thinking, hey, I did that. They understood me. I understood them. That feeling is addictive. It motivates you to keep going.
And don't apologize for your English. I hear this so often. Someone starts a conversation by saying, I'm sorry, my English is terrible. No, don't do that. You are learning a complex skill. Be proud of what you know, not ashamed of what you don't know yet.
I love that. Never apologize for trying. When you say sorry, you are already putting yourself in a lower position. You are telling the other person to expect failure. Walk in with your head high. Even if you have a thick accent, even if you have to use your hands to explain, own it. Communication is the goal, not perfect grammar exams.
You know, Tom, I want to share a quick story about a breakthrough moment I had. I was at a train station in London years ago. I was lost. My phone was dead. I had to ask for help. I was terrified, but I had no choice. I went up to a guard and I just started talking. I didn't think about grammar. I just needed to get home.
And what happened?
We talked. He helped me. We even joked about the weather. And I sat on that train and realized I hadn't translated anything in my head. I had just spoken. It was messy, sure, but it was real. That was the moment I realized I was fluent. Not perfect, but fluent.
That is a beautiful story. Fluency happens when you stop watching yourself speak and just speak. It is when the need to communicate becomes stronger than the fear of making a mistake.
Exactly. So, Tom, what would you say to the person listening right now who feels stuck? The person who has been studying for years but still feels locked up.
I would say change your relationship with English. Stop treating it like a subject to be studied and start treating it like a tool to be used. Take the pressure off. Have fun with it again. Remember why you started. Did you start so you could fill out worksheets? No. You started so you could connect with people, understand movies, travel the world, maybe get a better job. Focus on the connection, not the correction.
Focus on the connection, not the correction. I'm going to write that down. That is brilliant.
Thanks, Ria. It really is the truth, though. And also, celebrate the progress. We look at how far we have to go, the top of the mountain, and we feel small. But look back at how far you have come. A year ago, could you understand this podcast? Maybe not. But here you are, listening to two people chat in English for 15 minutes. That is a victory.
It is a huge victory. Listening to a long-form conversation like this is advanced stuff. You guys are doing great.
We truly believe in you. We know it is hard, we know it can be lonely, but you are not alone. There are millions of people on this same journey. And every time you listen, every time you try to speak, you are getting better. Even if you don't feel it today, you are improving.
The brain is always working. It's wiring new connections right now as you listen to our voices. Trust the process.
So here is our challenge for you this week. We want you to do one thing, just one. Talk to yourself out loud for 2 minutes every day. In the shower, in the car, while making coffee. Just 2 minutes. Narrate what you are doing. Get comfortable with the sound of your own voice in English.
That's a great challenge. And if you're feeling brave, record yourself. Listen to it. Don't judge it. Just listen. You might be surprised that you sound better than you think.
Absolutely. We are always our own worst critics. So, Ria, any final thoughts before we sign off for today?
Just keep going. Do not stop. The only way to fail is to quit. If you keep showing up, you will get there. I promise.
Beautifully said. Thank you all so much for listening to Real English Voices. We appreciate every single one of you.
Thank you, everyone. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep speaking.
See you next time.
Bye.